Bit late, but hey.
Welcome, welcome. We are live here for the Sisters United Hangout. And, I'm going to turn off my little dinging. My phone's dinging. All kinds of activity going on here. A little pattern interrupt there. So we have a very powerful topic, and it's the bullying syndrome. We're going to be discussing it. And so what we're going to do first, though, is we're going to go across the panel, have everybody quickly introduce themselves, those of you that are new, don't know who we are, a little bit about our story, and then we're actually going to dig into that. Oh, yes, no, I'm sorry, I forgot. Nikki is actually going to first read a short little thing that she found about sort of a definition of bullying and the bullying syndrome, and keep this in the back of your mind. Then we're going to go across the panel, everybody quickly introduce ourselves, and then we're going to dive into the topic one by one, each of us going across with our experiences. And this is going to be interactive, so please comment below, say hi. We are going to be checking in. We are going to be communicating if you have any questions, anything at all. This is a very much interactive conversation. I'm so glad you are all here. I'm going to pass it quickly over to Nikki.
Thank you so much, Val. Okay, so, well, first I'll just introduce myself. Nikki Jones from Lifestyle Alchemy. I'm in Perth, Western Australia. 35 years old. That's my introduction. So I'm just going to go straight into the definition of bullying. Now, I've done psychology before, so what I've been doing is actually looking through my psych books, and what I've done is pulled up the definition of bullying, basically. So I'm just going to read that for you guys now. Bullying is the use of force, threat, or coercion to abuse, intimidate, or aggressively dominate others. The behaviour is often repeated and habitual. One essential prerequisite is the perception by the bully or by others of an imbalance of social or physical power. Behaviours used to assert such dominance can include verbal harassment or threat, physical assault or coercion, and such acts may be directly repeated towards particular targets. Rationalizations for such behaviours sometimes include difference of social class, race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, appearance, behaviour, body language, personality, reputation, lineage, strength, size, and ability. If bullying is done by a group, it's called mobbing, which I guess a lot of us actually experience the mobbing as per the bullying. Bullying can be defined in many different ways. The UK has no legal definition of bullying, while some US states have laws against it. Bullying is divided into four basic types of abuse: emotional, sometimes called relational, verbal, physical, and cyber. It typically involves some subtle methods of coercion, such as intimidation. Bullying ranges from simple one-on-one bullying to more complex bullying, in which the bully may have one or more lieutenants who may seem to be willing to assist the primary bully in his or her bullying activities. That's pretty much just a condensed version of what bullying is. And how it's sort of recognised throughout the different states as well. So it's pulled together from different countries. I think that is pulled together from the UK, the United States, and Australia. So there you go. Back to you, Val.
Well, thank you. I get all anxious even when I just start. Lots of memories come up, even just with the definition of it. I'm thinking this through again. I'm actually thinking maybe perhaps we do this if we go across the panel, quick introduction, but actually dive into our thoughts and our story and experience, and we'll come back over to you as well on that, and we will get interactive with it, because it's that just sort of raised up a whole bunch of stuff inside of me. I'm gonna start over on the far left. That would be for me. That would be for you, Sarita, to bring you up, introduce, and your experience on this topic.
Yes. First of all, so grateful to be here. Our second Sisters United Hangout. So I'm very pumped. The first one was a huge success. I got so much amazing feedback. So anyone who's tuning in, I'm so happy that you're here once again. And whoever's new, what we want to do here is really special. We really want to, share from our heart and, talk about things that are quite, close to our heart and can really affect us. So this one is a huge one. And I have been bullied, and I have been also been the bully as a child. So yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing a bit more, and I pass the baton to Nikki. Nikki, yeah.
Oh, for you it's Nikki? Okay, we'll go over to Nikki.
Yeah, Nikki.
I guess we're back over to you, Nikki. For me, it goes a little differently, but that's okay.
Okay. Well, for me, this topic is actually really quite personal. I've had a lot of experience, unfortunately, with bullying and being bullied. It's something that I've actually had to deal with throughout my life quite a lot in different circumstances, just because I'm a little bit different than most people, and I always have been. So this to me is really important to sort of be able to discuss this subject and sort of get the message out that it's not okay, because I don't think there is enough coverage about this. I think you hear about it every now and then in social media with cyberbullying, but it's not really talked about much in social circumstances. And if you are being bullied, you don't talk about it. It's a shameful thing to have happen to you, and often you're very shamed in the act of being bullied, so it doesn't get discussed, and it stays with you for a long time. It really does, and it can be a very, very painful experience, and that painful experience can bring up other memories as well, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on after we sort of get into it, but yeah, this is why this subject, the bully syndrome, is such a big thing for me. Is not only have I been bullied, but being a counsellor in the past as well, I've had to deal with some children with the Department of Social Protection who have been heavily bullied in today's society, and really it's a lot worse today than what it was when I was younger because of the cyber factor as well. So yeah, I'm glad we're discussing it, and I'm glad that we're getting it out there. And I see this is a really important thing that we're doing right now. So, yeah. So I guess pass that on to Elizabeth.
Yes, Elizabeth, you are up.
Oh. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Bowers from the Revitalized family. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And I guess I've experienced the bullying a couple different ways, from different spectrums and different dynamics. So I've been bullied, I've accidentally partaken in bullying, and I've done my utmost to help my children make sure that they don't do it, that they need to take into consideration everybody's differences. And I don't know who's in what order, so Val, you're going to have to pick the next person.
Well, actually, who's next in person? We have a wonderful special guest right now. We have Fizza, who is on with us, and we're going to go next over to you, and tell you got a very powerful story. I know you got a very, very powerful story, Mama. So I'm gonna plug you.
Hello, everyone. How are you all? It's very cold here. It's freezing.
Let everybody know where you are and what time of the day it is for you.
It's 1:15 a.m. I am from Burke, Australia. It's a small country town, and it's totally open area. That's why it's so freezing here. And yes, I'm Fiza Kashif Khan, and I have lots to share regarding the bullying, because I share a lot about my daughter and about others. But yes, and thank you very much for selecting this topic, because I think every one of us has lots of stories to share regarding the bullying. And yes, but I just call Sarita to introduce herself, then we will start sharing our stories. Is it good?
Oh yes, so Sarita already came out, so...
Greta.
Sorry. Oh, Greta. Sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Greta. Yes.
Okay. My hearing. All right.
It's all good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So my name's Greta Campagnolo, and I've got kids running in and out here, so I just have to kind of put that out there first, just in case you hear any background noise or anything. It's just my 6 kids out there doing their thing. I'm a homeschooling mom. And I can completely relate to this topic, as I am sure that every single person can relate in some way, as Fiza mentioned as well. I've got many experiences, different variable experiences from my childhood to now in my life with my own kids, and so yeah, it is interesting, like you said, Valerie, to just hear the definition being said and all the thoughts and reminders and experiences that pop into our minds. And I know that you watching right now, I'm sure that you had a similar experience, and we really want to encourage you that this is a safe place for you to share. There, it is live, so just obviously you know that, but in the comments and stuff underneath our hangout, just feel free to share any thoughts or feelings that may come up for you, and any situations that you feel comfortable in sharing that you'd like us to share on the Hangout as well. We definitely encourage that. So I'm just happy that you're here with us, and I'm looking forward to hearing some pretty powerful stories here today. So thank you for joining us, and I will pass it on. I think that our last person on the panel is Gabrielle. So Gabrielle, please come on out and share.
Hey, Gabrielle, you're up.
Hey, I was just really worried my lips jumping up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Oh, so yeah, I'm Gabrielle Morrison. I'm here in Perth, Australia as well, as Sarita and Nikki. And it's just past 11 now, so it's late for us. It's cold, like I'm all wrapped up. Like everyone thinks of Australia being really warm, but it's not always really warm. Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of share on this topic and hear all the girls' stories. And I just really hope that we can touch someone and make a difference to someone's night, and really encourage any of you watching and listening to reach out to any of us tonight, or privately on Facebook message. Yeah, we really want to be here to support you.
Yeah, you're cutting out a little. You're cutting in and out a little bit.
And
but
I'm not sure you can still hear me. Right? Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you. And
I'll move on then, and let's get started.
yeah. So quickly, Nikki, do you see any comments, whatever, in the chat to bring up at this moment? Otherwise, we're going to start going across and getting into you. Oh, can't hear you, hon. Is it me or is Nikki frozen to everybody?
Sorry, I was muted. I just had a look just then. We've just got people shouting out where they're from, and yeah, pretty much at the moment they're just listening to us, and yeah, just giving their locations, which is great. So just again, if there's anyone out there watching, if you have something, a topic that you want to have discussed, you want us to talk about, feel free to put that in the chat, and we will get around to reading that and addressing that. If you have a story that you'd like to share, we'd love to hear that as well. This, as we've said, this is interactive, so we will be going through the comments regularly. And yeah, we do want to hear from you, so please use that chat box. Thanks, Val.
Great. I'm going to introduce myself and just get into it for me here as well, to sort of like open it up and maybe allow a little bit of the opening to sharing. Valerie Jampolsky. I'm a single mom of twin 5-year-olds. One of them's actually passed out right here next to me. It's 8 a.m. here in Los Angeles, but the boys are up late and they're relaxed. But I'm gonna give my little naked kid alert. I keep it organized, but just saying. I feel so grateful to be here with everybody here and to be able to be home with my kids and not sitting in a job and an intense situation, and being able to be here and do this kind of thing. I just have absolute gratitude. For me, my situation with my experience with bullying, I'll start off here. I was heavily bullied in elementary school, and I wasn't physically bullied, but I was emotionally bullied. and it was so devastating for me. And it's funny, you can call bullying in a lot of ways. I was bullying in the school, and it was also, how I was treated at home. Since then, my parents have completely transformed. They're not the same beings, and they know I talk about this, and it's all cool. But the combination of the two, I did not have any support in my home. In fact, I had the exact opposite. And so when all this happened, I just curled up into a ball inside, and I actually made a suicide attempt at age 10. And it was, talk about cold, I was up in Canada, and it was like 40, 60 below, whatever, and I knew, I ran out into the cold, I threw myself in a snowbank, and I knew that if I got cold, I was gonna die, because that's what you do. You get cold, you get warm, you get sleepy, and then you die. And that was my plan. And I ran out in socks and a t-shirt into this freezing weather and threw myself around the corner in a snowbank. And as I was lying there, as I start to get to the sleeping point, which would have meant I would have died, all of a sudden it was like this crazy wild voice that said, "Not yet." Whatever you want to call that is, that I got up, I ran inside. No one even knew it happened. No one knew it happened. But I did make the attempt. And to say that, when you think your kids are okay, they may not be. Just saying. This stuff runs deep, and it affected me in such powerful ways that I had such a negative self-view of myself. I did not have anybody in my environment supporting me to be able to counteract, all those negative thoughts that were coming in, to be able to go, you know what, that's not reality, that's not who you really are, and that's their stuff, right? And to be able to let it go and pull up my own inner beauty and know who I really am. All that stuff that I do now, I didn't have that. And so all I did was I took it in and I self-internalized it into a very negative view of myself. And a couple of things happened with that. I attracted more bullying in my environment. Everything from domestic violence of men that treated me very emotionally and physically violent, to bosses that were extremely bullying at the jobs that I had, friends. It was like a series. It's like you could just change out the bodies, but it didn't really matter, shape, size, whatever. Everywhere in my environment, I attracted more and more and more of the very same thing because I internalized it. And internalized it to such a degree that I became a huge self-bully in a massive way, bullying myself. And I want to talk, bring that up as well for folks that maybe they feel they have this outside persona, but inside they've taken in those bullies, and they are the biggest bullies on themselves, because on some level I was believing, and I fight it every minute. I'll be honest, I woke up this morning, and there's days that I woke up and I set my alarm, because I'll wake up and I'll have this panic state inside, and I need, of the spiral, because I had so many years up until recently where I'd have a completely different perspective on life, but now I have the tools where immediately I put on some positive, audio and everything, and did whatever I needed to do to sort of, go, okay, it's not real, and to pull into the remembrance of who I really am and have, an empowering conversation. It was like one of the things I wrote out from the thing that I was listening to today. I wrote out just something to say, which is, you're a beautiful, magnificent being, and you're growing in the knowing of this truth. Saying these kinds of messages, having these kinds of conversations, transformational conversations with ourselves, right? Because that's part of the process of what can happen, and that's actually the deadliest thing of what can happen with this, is what we do to ourselves as a result of what starts on the outside. So anyways, that's where I wanted to start off my experience by conversation, and then I'm going to pass it on back over to Sarita at the beginning of the panel.
Wow, Valerie, thank you so much for being so honest and transparent, and I just feel your pain. And being a mother has changed a lot for me, I guess, because I'm really aware. I mean, I always loved children, but because they are so open, and we are, I guess when we get older, we build up all these walls around us, but when we're little, we're just so open, and little things can affect us so much, like I love my dad to bits, and I know, for example, I don't think he bullied me, but it was kind of a little bit of a bullying, he teased me a lot, my dad, and he would call me Princess of Tears, and I would cry, and he would call me another saying like, don't touch me or something. I would like, he would say I'm too sensitive, and like I internalized that. So, I would suddenly cry a lot more, and I would become more sensitive, because I internalized what he was saying, and I was just listening to. It was Louise Hay. Louise Hay is actually awesome. I'm addicted to Louise Hay at the moment, and because it's all about self-love, and she was talking about that, our subconscious mind. It doesn't matter what we say to, even if it's said as a joke, our subconscious can't differentiate. It just goes straight in. So even if you do, say something to a child and it's meant as a joke, like my dad, I'm sure he was just wanting to actually make me laugh, because he would see I'd be upset and he would just wanted to make it funny, like many dads don't know how to be with their kids kind of in that way. And instead of me seeing that he just wanted to make me laugh, I just felt so, I just felt so awful and so bad about myself that I was, sad. And really, I just wanted my dad to hug me. And that I think really affected me. But, I've got lots of things that happened, and even currently had a few things that's been happening. And that's what just keeps happening. One of the things I wanted to talk about is what's helping me. And my approach to helping myself throughout this, because the world is like that. There's going to be people who are going to judge you. There's going to be people who are going to bully you. There's going to be people who are never going to do any self-development, and they're going to project all their shit onto you. I'm going to actually try not to use the S word so much this time. Last week was a bit too much. I've always, since I was 17, 18, I've always done a lot of self-development. I've seen counselors. I'm seeing a holistic counselor at the moment. She's amazing, and she was even talking to me about it. There's so many people out there who have never done any self-development. So if you have never really looked at yourself, a lot of people, they project all their stuff onto you, and it's got nothing to do with you. And so you really got to build your own, self-esteem. And like for me, like that's why I talk about Louise Hay. She talks about a lot about love, self-love, and you really got to learn to love yourself and accept yourself despite your shortcomings, despite we all, I'm far from perfect, but I very much have worked on myself to a point that I feel like I'm okay with me. Even though other people might say, oh, she's not perfect and she's not this and this not, and all these things, they can see all these faults. I can see the faults too. However, I care for myself now. But I know when I was 17, 18, I hated myself. So it took a lot of work and a lot of inner work to get to that place. But I think when you can get to that place where you truly can appreciate yourself and have compassion with yourself and be your own best friend instead of trying to get that from everybody else, then you can start feeling better about people, whatever people may say about you. And if you're in a position where you feel at the moment you're being bullied or whatever, I would highly recommend you, listen to some audios, listen to like Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. There's another really good one by Louise Hay that I'm listening to at the moment. I can look it up later, but that stuff has helped me to a point that even it doesn't matter what people throw at me now. I'm like, I'm okay with me. It hurts, and I think we're all. I can see it with my children. That's the beautiful thing about having children. You can see, like my son, he's so happy in himself, but he wants my attention so badly. So when he does something, like today, he was on this bike and he was trying to go on this bike, and he's like, Mom, look at me. Children innately want that attention and love and appreciation and want to be acknowledged. And, they don't know yet how to get that from within. They start maybe as babies feeling really full, and then it kind of disappears more and more and more, and then want more and more and more from the parents. And if they can't get it from the parents, or they want it from their friends. And I'm trying to maybe instill into my children that they can, I'm still learning as a mother, obviously. My kids are pretty young, but I want to try to help my children by telling them, like, I talk about like angels a lot with them, you know, and everyone has a different upbringing, but I say, if you ever feel sad or you don't know what to do, you can always reach out to your angels and ask them for help. Because I want them to know that there is like all this amazing space within yourself that you can give yourself, and you don't need to always rely on the outside. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm trying to kind of instill that, because prevent possibly them wanting it all the time from everybody else. And yeah, I've gone into a rant and I don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I think loving yourself, accepting yourself, forgiving yourself, despite what may has happened or what's happening right now, is huge. And that can really help if you can feel that and truly feel that and work on that. And if you don't know how, just there's so much self-development books out there, or audio books like Louise Hay has really helped me. Then all this stuff that's happening around is a lot easier to deal with. Even though it's obviously nice, we're creatures of, we'd love to be loved by everybody, but that's just not how it works. And there's always going to be someone who's not going to like you. And if you can really try to, make peace with yourself and love yourself and forgive yourself, then you can give so much more to others. And also life is so much better. Yeah, I think, maybe even society has not given us sometimes, it's like that you have to have all these things in place until you're allowed to be happy. It's like, no way, because life is never perfect and there's always going to be something missing. So why not just enjoy life right now, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and just be grateful for what you have and really love yourself, and have some compassion with yourself and make peace with yourself.
Wow, that is so powerful, Sarita. And I mean, I'm just saying, that whole be your own best friend and having compassion for yourself and forgiveness for your, for whatever little things. We all have our strengths and we have things that are not our strengths, and we all have our own unique thing. And I mean, just this morning as I was listening, I was actually listening. Michael Bernard Beckwith, you guys know I love him. Is talking about how that vibration of gratitude and love and forgiveness and all of that is more powerful than anything out there, and it can overcome anything. It can literally overcome anything. It's like and literally attracts all the more positive experiences into our life as opposed to all the other stuff. So it's like so inherently powerful, which he's saying. Anybody who's taking notes, you might want to re-listen, and like Sarita, what you just put down there was like so powerful. I'm going to pass it on over to Elizabeth. Well, can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Yeah.
I just okay. I'm trying to think of where to start. Like I have a very varied background, just for me alone, not even counting the kids. And I don't ever remember my parents being together. I was always had my mother's house and my father's house, and there was very weird dynamics. Like I didn't experience below school. And at middle school, what ended up happening was, my mom didn't have a lot of money. And I guess it was obvious by the way we dressed and whatever, and I got picked on because we didn't have a lot of money. I got picked on clean to the point where I cut school 65 days out of the year. And my best friend during that year was my science teacher. I talked to him all the time. He was constantly showing me how to do photography stuff, but it was always, she was the poor girl, and I got picked on for that. Then I go to high school, I switched custody from my mother's house to my father's house, and I always thought that everybody was in about the same financial dynamic. Well, when I moved, my dad and my stepmother employed a lot of people in the area, and I didn't know that. And went and they talked to the people in their places of employment and said, my daughter's coming to town. She's going to be coming to the school. Could you talk to your kids and see if they'll include her? Biggest mistake they could have possibly put a target, I believe. Because now all these people are sitting there saying, why do I have to be friends with her just because her mom's your boss? And I went from being the poor girl to being the little rich bitch and didn't even know it. And, you know, it was just really, really hard because nobody wanted to deal with you. Nobody wanted to talk to you. And here I am all by myself. The odd, lucky thing was that 2 other people from where I used to live moved to the same town, and we're in the same school. So we didn't find that out until about 6 months later. But I went out of my way not to judge anybody for anything. You know, I tried to be there, and I wasn't part of any of the social groups. I wasn't part of the cliques or anything like that. But if I saw someone that was struggling with something, I went over and I helped. Because I was included, I was trying to include everybody else. And it was really, really hard because you just want to be included as a kid, as an adult, no matter what the dynamic is. And people are weird. They're very jealous. They're very manipulative. And if they see something that about you that reminds them of something they don't like about themselves, inherently they end up picking on you. Not because they really dislike you, but just either they see something in you that they don't like in themselves, or they see something in you that they want for themselves. And it's hard to wrap your head around that kind of stuff and figure out what's going on. Even when we moved out here to Pennsylvania, we moved here to get away from all the politics where I used to live. And I'm tiny. I'm a skinny little thing. And a lot of times that makes me a threat, or perceived as a threat by women. And most of my friends growing up were guys. I talk shop, I talk cars, I talk all the stuff that guys talk, and that makes women feel threatened about me. So my kids would go to the dance school, and I'd be getting picked on because I'm this tiny little thing, and don't you know I'm after everybody else's husband. I could give a rat's behind about anybody's husband. All I was there for was to take care of my kids and to deal with my family. But this is what was coming at me, and it messed me up for 2 years. I was crying constantly. I was constantly feeling like I was at my wit's end because I couldn't go to social events because I felt like I was being judged. And I had to learn that the perception of these people had nothing to do with my self-esteem. It didn't matter what they thought of me, because as long as I knew that that wasn't the case, that's what mattered. The hardest thing is convincing yourself that that's what mattered, because everybody wants to fit in. And it's only been maybe the last year and a half that I haven't cared what anybody else has thought about me, because it's gotten to the point where I used to be the quiet little person in the corner, and not anymore. I mean, you guys here even have said that in the last couple of months I went from to being this really loud thing, and I learned that after my first divorce, is you stay quiet, people judge you on things that aren't necessarily true. Well, now I announce to the world everything that's going on in my life, whether it's necessary or not, because you know what? Don't judge me on something that I'm not doing. If I'm doing it, fine, talk to me. We can figure out what's going on, but don't turn around and say stuff about me or my family that isn't true unless you know it's true. And I'm here to deal with it. And sometimes people now are afraid to confront me because I get right up in their face. I don't have a problem dealing with issues when they happen, but my whole thing is if you don't deal with them as they happen, they're going to fester. And I don't want these things to fester. I want to continue to progress through my life. And I'm going to shut up now.
No, no. Elizabeth, I always love to hear you, everything that you share, because it's always it's also powerful. So much I didn't even know about you. It's amazing how people come up with perceptions. I would have never thought any of that, because I know you from a completely different space, and yeah. I want to before we bring up Fizit here, I was wondering, Nikki, are you seeing any comments or anything in the chat going on?
Yeah, we got a few people. Sorry, I'm unmuted already. Okay, sorry, I kept falling out before, so I'm a little bit behind. I did catch a lot of that though, Elizabeth, and thank you for sharing. It's really powerful. It's really nice to have you on the panel. So we have got quite a few people with us tonight, and we've got some. What I'd like to actually do is read out just a couple of stories, I think. because we've got some people that have commented some really powerful stories. So Michelle Tafoya, she's written, in almost every job I have had in my industry, I've been bullied by my boss. When I've stood up for myself, it only put a larger target on my back and eventually led to my termination or quitting. One boss in particular really hated on me when I came back to work right after my mum passed away. I wonder why I find myself in a position where female bosses, even though I have great work ethic and I'm always nice in the workplace, seems like only the mean girls get ahead in the industry. They stick together and drive others out. I can relate to that just through high school. Probably not so much through the workplace, but definitely the mean girl scenario in high school for sure. Also, Lucy Flowers. Hey, Lucy. So last week you were discussing the competition between women. This often ends in bullying. My ex-wife has spent the last 20 years spreading nasty rumours about me. She has sent me really unpleasant messages, told my friends lies about me, lost some of them. She even tried turning my children against me. I even had numerous reports to social services, all unfounded, I will add. She bullied my children when they were smaller, physically controlling them, cutting their hair and clothes before they came home to me. But I pity her now. I guess she must be in so much pain, had an awful upbringing, and must have such low confidence in herself. I hope she finds some peace one day. In the meantime, I no longer am affected by it. I just feel really sorry for her. So that's actually a really powerful story of how someone's been through something so awful and had to deal with such a horrible situation, and is able now to step out of that situation and see from the other lady's point of view that she's doing that from a place of pain and a place of probably anger and issues that are being projected probably from her childhood. That's what I would say anyway. So we have some powerful stories happening on that thread right now. So keep them coming, guys. I'll continue to monitor the chat and read out some of those stories. So if anyone on the panel wants to comment on any of those stories as well, feel free to, if you have something to add to that in support of those stories. Valeria, I'm guessing that you, with the workplace bullying, can relate to that quite a bit, especially with female bosses. And I know that I have been in an industry where I have had female bosses before, but because I've been in positions of supervisory, I haven't really been aimed at me, but I have seen it aimed at other people, and it can be very, very nasty. So I can definitely sympathise with the mean bosses, that's for sure. And yeah, Michelle, being in a position where you find yourself also bullied by female bosses, I think a lot of it happens out of intimidation. And when you're performing really well in your job and your boss isn't doing as much as what they really should do, and they're actually a lot of time taking a lot of credit for other people's work, and they know that what they're doing is wrong, a lot of what can happen is they'll project that as being bullying, because it becomes a jealousy thing. It becomes a subconscious acknowledgement of knowing that you're working a lot harder than what they are, and they're in a better position than what you are, and they're not doing the work that they should be. I've seen that a lot in workplaces, and dealt with a lot of women who have been bullied in that situation before. So I hope that can bring a little bit of clarity to the situation of why you may have been bullied in the workplace, especially if you do have a very good work ethic. It does make other people jealous in the workplace, and that can cause bullying. So yeah, that's for the comments, Val. So if anyone else wants to say anything, please do.
Well, I want to pass it on over to Fizza so we can, because I want to get so many people have some incredible stories here. And Fizza, I got echo here. I'm gonna bring you up. We have maybe everybody else. We have a little bit of extra echo, or maybe Fizza, do you have the page open on another page, perhaps?
No.
We're good now. I don't hear the echo. Well, I still do. Everybody else but Fizza, can we mute? Okay, Fizza, can you say something?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we can. Okay. Yes, I just want to share workplace bullying because I used to work in a very renowned store in Sydney, and because of my this hijab, people, the thing started when I went for the interview, and everybody was saying, "You're not going to get this job because of this." I said, "I don't mind, but I should have to give a try." And believe me, on the day of interview, I was just talking to my husband and I said, I'm not going for the interview because if they will not appoint me, then he said, don't worry. I said, I'm going to take off this. He said, just for this, just for a job, you are taking off your hijab. What for? And then I realized, and then I recall myself that Fiza, be yourself. Be yourself. You have your own identity. Then I went to for the interview and at my workplace because I already got the approval from the HR, but my manager should have to take a small interview. And when I reached there, I saw some customers there and they were like, oh, you know, they start swearing because of my hijab, that what sort of a people you are going to appoint? If you will appoint her, then we are not going to come to your store. And I feel so bad that what should I say? And then I turn around and I said, listen, I am human being first. When you were born, you did not even know whether you are going to born in a Christianity, in Hinduism, Jewishism, or what. We all are human being first. So don't say that. And we are not that bad that you people think. And then they start swearing again. And I was like, it's better to be quiet. And then I come back home and I was like crying that, oh my God, and I have to go to work because we were in that situation where I can't afford to say no to that job because it was very difficult for us for my husband because he was not earning that much. And then I start going to work, and while going to work, because my husband go to work in the morning, and I used to drop my daughter to daycare, and then I take a public transport. So I had gone through so much difficulties. I got through verbal bullying, I got through physical bullying, I got to workplace bullying, and it was a very tough time for me. But I said, no, I'm not going to give up. And when I went to my workplace, I have to take train first. Then from that station, I have to take my public bus. And then one day I was waiting for my bus, and one person came and he stand beside me, and he said, and it was around 45 degrees. That was the hottest day in Sydney, and it was 45 degrees Celsius and like 113 degrees Fahrenheit. And he just stand beside me and he start just taking off my hijab. I said, Mike, what you are doing? Hey lady, don't you feel hot? I said, this is none of your business. Why you are touching me? He said, no, I feel sorry for you. Look at your hijab. Wow, what is this? And he starts swearing again. And I was like, this is none of your business. Please stay away. And then, thank God, one lady police came and she said, what's wrong? I said, ask him. And then he starts swearing and she said, I feel sorry for her. It's very hot here. Look at her, this, that. And she said, that's none of your business. Why you are just bothering with her hijab? She has her own identity. Is she saying anything to you that why you are wearing this plus necklace or just why? And he was like a freaky idiot, you know. He is having so many tattoos, and I don't know. I did not feel that he is normal. Maybe he was drunk. And I was so shocked and so scared that he took a same bus that I get in. And I was trying to just sit just behind the driver. And he was trying to sit behind me and trying to keep on taking off my hijab. And I was like, okay. Then I got up from there and I just took the back seat. And he got up from there and he just sit beside me. I said, why you are following me? Why don't you leave me alone? He said, no, I feel sorry for you and you should have to. And then one owed thanks to that lady that she said, you better come and sit with me. And he's drunk. And believe me, bus driver, he stopped the bus and he just talked to that person. And he said, you better get off the bus because you are creating a problem for all of us. He said, no, this is no. And I said, no, let him in the bus. I better get off. He said, no, you will not get off this bus. He should have to go out. And it was very bad day for me because emotionally and mentally I was so disturbed that I called my husband, but he was at workplace. He is not supposed to receive his call. And I was not thinking to go to my work. But I said, no, I am on the middle of my way. It will take an hour to go back home. So it's better to go to work. And on a very same day at my workplace around 7 or 8 o'clock, because I was doing a night shift, at 8 o'clock, 2 Irish people, they came in the store, and I don't know, maybe that was my worst day of my life. Maybe I was, I don't know what had happened with me on that day. And they entered the store and they want something, and they were looking here and there, and I was just behind the counter, and when they look at me, they start swearing. You bloody this, you bloody that, you people are this, you people are that. I did not say anything. And as soon as they come to the counter, they start punching on the counter. And thank God we had a big, thick glass shield. So I was just behind that. Not a glass shield, that a thick plastic shield that protect us from the customers. And he just punched it there, and one of my colleagues, he said, Fiza, it's better to move. Go away from here. And as soon as I moved from there, I moved to the other counter. He was following me over there. I said, no, I want this bloody Muslim to serve me. I said, excuse me, mind your language. He said, how dare you to say that to me? I said, why you are swearing me? I'm not a bloody Muslim. I'm a human being like you. I don't believe on you. I don't want to listen to you. Get out of this country. Get out of this store. You don't deserve that. I said, how dare you to say that to me? And then he called his another friend because he went in the car, and then he called him in and he said, look at that. And they start laughing. And I have tears in my eyes, but I said, no, Fiza, this is not the time to cry. No, be strong. Be strong and prove them that you are strong. You are powerful. And my colleague was so much confused, and he said, Fiza, calm down, calm down, calm down. I said, but look at them, how they are treating me. They said, don't worry about them. And as soon as they come near to the counter again, and they was throwing something on me, I just pressed the duress alarm because I feel very unsafe. I was not secure there. And we have a right. We have a right for our safety. We can press the duress alarm. Why I am sharing all these things? Because so many ladies of my own culture, my religion, they are scared of going to work. They are scared of going out, and they're scared of doing any job and help their husbands. So this is not a barrier. This is not a barrier. Believe me, this hijab is not a barrier. And we are powerful. we have all the authority to protect ourselves, our safety first. Wherever we work, our safety first. So I pressed the Duress alarm, and thank God that within a minute, security people, police, and everyone came to the store, and they look at the store, because they just throw things on me, and they was just tapping and kicking the cupboards and every shelves, and they just pushed some of the shelves, so everything just spread on the floor. So, and they said, what happened? Well, you pressed the Duress alarm. And then I started crying in front of them, because that was enough, because I was not that strong, because they were emotionally, I was so disturbed, and that was an emotional jolt for me, because they were swearing me. What for? Being a Muslim, taking a hijab. And then I got a phone call from my area manager, and he said, Fiza, what happened? Because when we press the Duress alarm, that goes to our regional manager, area manager, then they call my manager too. But my manager, oh my goodness, he was so selfish. He did not even call me. And my area manager called me and then said, Fiza, what happened? And then I was crying, and I was just explaining everything to him. He said, don't worry, we all are with you. You did the right thing. You pressed the Duress alarm because you feel insecure. Your safety first. Don't cry. And then he asked me, how do you go home? Your husband is going to come? I said, no, I have to go by public transport, but I have to call him because I feel very insecure to leave this store. I don't believe that maybe they will just follow me to my place. I don't want them to follow me. And they said, okay, if you want me, I will drop you there, but please don't leave the store. Call your husband. And then I called my husband, and as soon as he came to pick me up, I was crying, and I was crying like a child. And he said, what's happened? I said, I don't want to work. I don't want to work. He said, why? And then I told him what had happened with me. He said, what about your area manager? What he said? I said, he said, you did the right thing. And we will do our best to protect you. And believe me, very next day, in the morning, I have to start my shift at 4 o'clock, and I have to leave my house at 2 o'clock because I have to drop Nabira to daycare. And before leaving home, he called me and he said, Fiza, how are you? I said, I don't feel like to go to work because I feel very insecure. If they will come again or if they will shoot me, then who's responsible? Because one incident had been happened in Sydney that one lady was going to workplace and they maybe his partner or someone, they come to the workplace and they straight away shoot her. So I was so scared, and he said, don't worry, I will arrange a counseling for you. I will call your manager, don't go to work if you don't feel comfortable. I said, no, I have to go. Otherwise, I will not get a salary and I need money. He said, Fiza, your safety first. I will give you money, don't worry. And I started crying because I need money on that time. And then I had a counseling session and he promised me that he will arrange a security guard for me. And in the history of my store, believe me, I got a security guard. Only in my shift, I got a security guard. And it's a great honor for me that I create a history over there, that being a Muslim woman, I create history. And everybody was so shocked that this never happened. How is it possible that you got a security guard? I said, this is me, Fiza Kashif Khan, not you. I am strong, I am powerful, and I proved that. And my regional manager, my area manager, and the best thing is that my manager of this store, he was just having a very hot chat with me why I pressed the Duress alarm. The very next day when I had a shift, he was waiting for me that I entered the store. Instead of having sympathy with me, he took me to the office and he started having we had a very bad conversation I had a very bad conversation with him. And I said, I'm sorry, you are of my same religion, but I feel so sorry for you that you don't understand. You are not trying to understand what had happened with me, and you are denying the wrong thing. And he completely changed my incident report, because whatever had happened, we need to write an incident report form. We need to fill up that form. And he totally changed that. And I said, I want to see my incident report. Where is the original one? And he said, this is the original one that you have filled up last night. I said, no, this is not my writing. This is not my signature. I need my original one. I said, if you are not going to listen to me, I'm going to HR straight away. And then my friend came. She started shift at 5 o'clock, and I was crying. And she said, why you are crying? And then I told her that this thing happened. And she gave me HR number, and she said, Fiza, this is HR number. Straight away call it, call now. How dare he is to do that? Instead of listening to you, how dare he is to do that one? And then I straight away called the HR department, and thank God that lady was there. And I told her what had happened in the store with me. And she said, don't worry. And she straight away called area manager. And she said, what's going on with her? What's going on with her? Is this the way that you have to treat your people, treat your staff? And then she again arranged a counseling session for me. And I had 3 hours counseling on phone, because they call me at other place that is that's too far from my home. And I said, I don't have, I can't reach there because I need to change 3 trains, and it's take too long for me to reach there. And they arranged the telephonic counseling. I had telephonic counseling, and whenever I have a shift, they specially arrange security guard for me. And they gave the warning to my manager, and everyone in my store, they think that he got a promotion, but actually he got the warning, and people said that it's better you take transfer from here, otherwise they are going to sack you. So he took a transfer, and people celebrate his farewell like he got a promotion. But only me and my colleague, who is a very good friend of mine, they know that what the story behind that. And everybody said, oh, Fiza, you do this. I said, I don't want to listen to anyone, because what I had gone through, only I know. My daughter is suffering because of this behavior. My husband is suffering because of this behavior, because I am very cranky. I'm very scary. I don't want to come to workplace by public transport. So my husband he just dropped me here, and he just picked me as soon as I finished my shift, no matter where he is. And I did not sleep for 4 days until and unless I had a counseling session. In the middle of night, I was shouting and crying that please help me, they are going to kill me. And then what had happened after that everybody gets so much conscious that she is very powerful. She is not like us, who's listening to anything. Because my area manager gave me his number, his personal mobile number, and he said, whatever had happened, just give me a call straight away. Don't listen to anyone, because you are very precious. My HR lady, she gave her direct number, even her mobile number to me. Whatever problem you have, Fiza, just straight away call me. Then I will look into that matter, because you are very precious. When you get these sort of feedback from the higher authorities or from work, this really boosts you up. And from that day, believe me, from that day, my manager did not even face me, because I start my shift at 4 o'clock and he's trying to just escape from the workplace as before 4 o'clock. He don't want to face me because he knows that if I will see him, then must have a hot conversation with him. He did not have a guts to confront me because he was wrong and I was right. If you are right, you don't have to get scared of anything. If you are honest, if you are sincere, if you are right, you don't have to worry about anything. And from that day, I got the courage. Pizza is powerful. And those who were trying to make me victim, who was trying to targeting me, they got transferred, they got sacked, they got warnings. But I was there, and I was very, very, like, I was a very famous and very favorite staff member. Everybody wants to work with me. Everybody wants me that, okay, now Fizza will do that, Fizza will do that, Fizza will decide, Fizza is that. I did not take that bullying on myself. I was successfully overcome from there, because I do believe that I want to share one very good quote with you all. Whoever is trying to bring you down is already below you. So don't worry. You have something in you. You are unique. That's why people are doing all these things with you. We all are powerful. That's why people are trying to just suppress her in some way or other, whether physical bullying or verbal bullying or workplace bullying. They know that you have something within yourself. Like I share my story because don't worry, have confidence, be yourself. Then nobody can harm you. But you have to be strong. You have to be strong. Pretend like a boss. Don't try ever let anyone to put you down. No. So from that day, I'm so happy, and I feel like, oh yes, I am powerful. And when I shared that everything with my husband, and he said, wow, you proved that. You create a history in your store that in 15 years, because one of my colleagues, she is working there for last 15 years. And she said, I never see a security guard for anyone, even not for myself. I said, you are you and Fizza is Fizza. So this is the thing. This is the thing. And look, I read something and I want to share with you all that when people hurt you over and over, think of them like sandpaper. They may scratch and hurt you a bit, but in the end, you end up polished and they end up useless. So this is my story.
Wow. That is so powerful. That is so powerful, Fizza, that you know that you were able to take that within and you know, because I always say, you know, when you're in a positive space inside of yourself, anything that's negative out there, it's going to filter away. I mean, the guy got transferred. You know, the people that were a hassle. I mean, it's like I don't know if everybody else jump in on this, but that you know I've been, you know, working with personal development, law of attraction, and all of that. And when you're believing in yourself and not buying into what's in your outer circumstances, no matter, you know, bullying being an extreme thing of that, to believe in who, you know, the power of who you really are, the outside circumstances change. They just do. Mm-hmm. Everything filtered. I mean, everything part of your story, everything just filtered out. I'm seeing we're talking about potentially having a part 2 on this. We want to hop out on that if we want to keep going here live, or do we want to be moving on to a part 2 so that a lot of other folks can come in and do another portion on this. Anybody that's here live, we've still got Gabrielle and Greta that have not come out on this. What would you like to do? Because we're already about 10 past the hour. Oh, and Sheena's back.
Yeah. I think we can also.
I'm gonna step off, so if anybody wants to, you can hop in.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say we wanted to touch base with our audience as well. Those of you watching and who stuck with us today. If you could just let us know in the comments as well whether you would, you have the time to sit here and hear the stories now, or we could do a part 2 for next week. I mean, I don't want to slow down the whole or rush. I mean, I don't want to rush anybody through this. Fizza, I just, wow. I'm like, I was just like hanging on the edge of my seat, just thinking about. I'm speechless, because I mean, it's just I really appreciate you coming out here today. I know those of you watching appreciate Fizza coming out here today. I've learned so much about what it is that your culture has to go through, and I mean, it's it's sad to hear those stories that women have to go through things like such as yourself, and at the same time, I'm just so happy that you're in your place of power, that you've found that within yourself, and the courage and the determination. You're just so brave, and you are spearheading, you are trailblazing, you are doing things to make a difference for not only yourself, for your daughter. You're just an incredible role model. I mean, for all of us here, so inspiring. So thank you so much for your time and energy and sharing that, and just being so open. I know that, I don't know where that background, I hear a little bit of echo or feedback, but anyways, I don't hear it anymore. But I just wanted to, I think that having a part 2 for me personally, just my own thoughts, and I know some of the other women as well, really feel like these stories need to be heard. They also need to be shared. It's healing on both sides, people listening who can relate, the people sharing their stories. It's just, this topic is so huge, and I really, really believe that it does need to be shared. It does need to be opened up and talked about. That just in doing this, it's making a huge difference. So I'm going to check the page as well, or Nikki, if you can check the page too, just to see how others are feeling about this. But those are my thoughts and feelings, and everybody else, thank you so much for sharing. It's like just amazing, and like, so I can relate to a lot of it. Obviously, I didn't ever experience anything that Fizza, to that extreme. But everybody has their own stuff, and just because you didn't go through what Fizza went through doesn't mean that your stuff is any lesser important or any lesser significance, because it is. It does matter. And yeah, I could go on here, but I'm going to check the page. I'm going to mute myself out if anybody else wants to hop on out here.
Sheena hasn't even had a chance to come out and say hi, so I'd love to pull out Sheena to say hi and your experience in this in the meantime while Greta's looking into that. But yeah, hi, and where are you at right now?
How are you? Hey everyone. I was looking through the comments, and everyone's half and half. Some people say they can listen to us all day, or some of them have a part 2. So it's kind of hard to choose which way to go.
Well, in the meantime, let's move forward, I'm thinking.
So, I mean, I'm fine with anything. We got all day too.
I did check back on the page if you just want me to let you know what the feedback is, and then we can make a unified decision here.
Sure.
Okay, so there lots of women are just loving this. Lucy says I can stay and listen all day, but part 2 would be something to look forward to. And Michelle says keep it going. And I think that's Serena, Earth Angel Mama. I am happy to do a part 2. Such great stories you all have. Yeah, so I think that women would definitely come back. It sounds like they would stick around as well. But I know we have other ladies that would be totally that I would love to have on the panel as well that weren't able to make it today, so maybe you could get them back next week too. So
Yeah.
whatever you
So, Serena, thumbs up in what direction? I got the thumbs up, but I'm not sure what the thumbs up means.
Yeah.
I
I think we've had some really powerful stories, like the
Oh, sorry, Gabrielle. I cut in and out there. Serena, what were you about to say?
Yeah, I was just saying, I think part 2 would be awesome just because we have a lot of ladies here in Australia where it's quite late. And yeah, I don't want to shortcut anyone because this is, you know, it is very healing, and I really appreciate your story, Fizza. You know, you sharing this, it means so much to, you know, you're such an inspiration to so many women, and I just applaud you for sharing, you know, because it would be very difficult, but just by you sharing this, like, you're making such a big difference. I'm so proud and happy you're here. So, and yeah, I just want everyone, all these women here to be heard, and I know there's a few other women who want to jump on who couldn't do it today, so I reckon it'd be awesome to have a part 2.
Sounds good. Okay, then we'll do a part 2 so that you can have you know, all the powerful sharings. Any last closing remarks today before we go back up that anybody wants to share thoughts?
I just want to thank you all just to invite me and share my experience, because I think this is the best platform where I got a chance to share my experience, because most of the women of my culture, they are scared to come out, and they don't want to work just because of this, that they take hijab. And thank you, Nikki, for letting me know about this. And I just compiled the story in a short way, how I just express myself, so people will understand, and people, I'm sure so many ladies around the world, when they listen to that, maybe they will get a courage from after listening to my story, and they start coming out of their comfort zone and trying to be productive for themselves or for their family. So thank you so much. It's a great honor for me to get a chance to share my story. Thank you so much. I love you all, and I'm blessed that I am part of this. Thank you.
No worries. It was awesome to have you on.
Yeah, it's great having you on.
So
Yeah.
just a feedback from just the chat box and Sisters United on the main thread feed there. We're pretty much half-half. People want us to keep going, but also people really want to see part 2 as well. So we've crept over the hour mark now, for sure. So I think there definitely will be a part 2 because we are missing some ladies tonight as well. And these stories are very important to share. So I think it would be a great idea, and the people on the chat agree with that. They'd love to hear a part 2. So,
do we have any? I know. Do we have some resources that we wanted to share briefly for anybody here on part 1? Any of that that you guys have gathered? I mean, I know Sarita. I think powerful resources, frankly, going and listening to Louise Hay and pulling what Sarita was saying in terms of accessing some wonderful stuff. But I know we said we might have some other resources as well at this time. We're going to have some of it more in part 2. Anybody have to share?
Yeah, I've got some here if you like. Just for us women, this is an Australian site. It's White Ribbon. Now this site gives you information for many different helplines for women who are going through different crises in their life. It is per state in Australia as well, so it gives you organisations within your state who will be able to help you with different problems that you may be having. So that's White Ribbon, I picked this resource because it's very broad in how it can help women and people in general that are going through different things in their life at the moment, including bullying. So I'll put the link to that page up on the chat, and women who may be currently going through a bullying situation at the moment or being mistreated in any way, reach out. Just as you're watching this, to reach out and feel the connection with someone. Reach out to these programs that are put there to help you, so that you're not alone and so that you have support in dealing with the situation that you're dealing with. So, yeah, I'll put that on the thread. And that is an Australian site. But I know there would be definitely more for other countries, but I can pick them up if for number 2 as well. Gina?
Nikki actually also posted some online resources for anyone in Canada, so it's in the thread.
All right. All right. Great. And yeah, and I would say also, for all of you here, stay connected to whoever invited you to this hangout as well. And you want to connect into our community to be able to, have the situation. We don't have to deal with bullying at the job. We're all in that very fortunate position where we have that. We have a very powerful. There's so much behind the scenes of connection and support and community, which for me is a massive source of pulling up from out of that inner. That from the self-bullying, because the external bullying can lead to self-bullying and all of that, but just any of it, to connect with us in our community, there's that button below. You can find us and also find any of us here wherever you've been invited. And we will be coming back for a part 2 next week. So stay tuned for that. Anybody else? What last words and comment? If you're watching this in the replay, please put your comments in below. We do come in, and we are communicating with you, so that our intention is that within time and space, you're with us here in the present. You really are. Even if you're watching this on the replay mode, our energy, you're here. We are all here together as a community, and feel that you are with us, and when you comment, we'll be connected with you as well. So as I know within some folks' time zones, this is not a good time to hop on, but so blessed to have you all here. Anybody else? Anything else before we sign off? We're good. Okay. Well, I'll see you all next week. We'll see you in the Facebook chat. Love you all, believe in you all, and see you next week.